This one begins with an old man, in his early 70s, a body that had been failing him for decades. He governed from a bed, not a throne or an office, a simple iron bed where he received diplomats, signed documents, and ran the country. In 5 days, a mob will find that bed. They will tear it apart. They will carry the pieces into the street. He had played with fire a little too long.
Whose frail hands may lie the key to peace is as anti-Russian as he is anti-British.
He was born into one of Iran's most powerful families. His father had been finance minister. His mother was Qajar royalty. There was money, there was a name, and there was a future waiting for him at home. He chose Paris instead. He was in his 20s, sitting in lecture halls on the other side of the world studying. He had spent 30 years believing one thing, that the world eventually rewards what's right. And in 1951, for one brief moment, it looked like he had it all correct. Iran's oil had been under British control for 50 years. A single concession, signed by a Shah who needed money, had handed Britain the rights to extract oil across most of the country. Now, as Prime Minister, he nationalized oil. The parliament voted unanimously, and the streets filled. An old man in pajamas was now on the cover of Time magazine. He had been right, at least he felt, and for once, the world was watching. Then Britain moved. They froze Iran's assets, deployed warships, and told every country quietly, if you buy Iranian oil, there will be consequences. He believed they were bluffing. He believed that what he had done was so cleanly, provably right, that the world would eventually have to acknowledge it. The tankers stopped coming. The refinery went quiet. The people who had been in the streets celebrating were now struggling to buy bread. He kept waiting for the world to respond. It didn't. His coalition fractured. Allies left one by one. He dissolved parliament through a referendum his own allies called fraudulent. He was certain he was right. He had always been certain he was right. That was the problem. August 16, 1953. At 1 o'clock in the morning, a colonel arrived at the Prime Minister's residence. He carried a letter, hand-signed by the Shah. Mossadegh didn't come to the door. He sent a guard to collect the letter, and the guard brought it to him. He read it. It said, you were dismissed. But he didn't say anything. He simply put the letter in his desk drawer and wrote one sentence on a piece of paper. I received your Majesty's correspondence at 1 o'clock in the morning. Then he had the colonel arrested. He gave orders to his army chief, make sure the residence was secure, and then he went to bed. By dawn, the Shah had fled the country. The general meant to replace him went into hiding. It looked for one moment like he had won. August 17th, August 18th, Mossadegh went on the radio. He told the Iranian people a coup had been attempted, that it had failed. For a moment, it looked like he was right. Then the streets started filling. Crowds, chaos. Some were paid by the CIA. Mossadegh banned all demonstrations. The morning of August 19th, military units moved through Tehran towards his house. A tank smashed through the green gate. Thousands poured into the yard, but Mossadegh was gone. He had escaped over the garden wall. The mob went through the house anyways. 300 people died that day in the streets of Tehran. 24 hours later, Mohammad Mossadegh surrendered. They tried him for treason. He defended himself and argued every point and refused to be silent. He was convicted. They sent him home after that. Home, to Ahmadabad. Forbidden from public life, forbidden from leaving, and visitors were limited to his wife and close family, just a few hours on Friday. Years later, it would be revealed that the coup had help from the CIA and British MI6, admitted decades later, but by then, Mossadegh was already gone, and what remained wasn't the coup, it was the man. A man who spent his whole life believing something simple, that if you were right, if you endured, the world would answer. He lost the fight, and what followed would reshape Iran for decades. But he never let go of that belief, and in the end, that may be the only thing he kept.